Okay, so now I think we got everything off that we don't need. So we're gonna put back this stuff that we do need, and that would be this piece over here that is going on the front, and it's gonna give a little balance to the chassis, because you can see that it's leaning back, and now it's gonna stand straight. All right, so all of these screws are pretty much the same. So we can just pick any one of them and put it back. Okay, 1, 2. Wrong hole. Something is not sitting right over here. Alright, got it. I don't know why this screw looks like it's bent a little. Let me try another one. Okay, this is better. So let's see, we have one on this side over here. Okay, and the thing that goes on top is this, and it's fixed with 2 screws. All right. It's gonna bend a little bit. It's gonna sit well when we screw it in. Not really sitting in place. I don't know why that is. Okay, should be sitting like this. Let me try now. Okay, I think we're good. And the other one. Okay, so maybe we're gonna put this one back as well, but maybe what we should do, just to get a bit more sturdiness, because we're gonna be cutting the chassis over here for the table to go under the head, maybe good thing is to put this piece over here temporarily back, just to have some more sturdiness where we're gonna be cutting, because we don't want anything to be bent. Because you see, if you bend this piece, for example, a bit to one side that it shouldn't be bent, you already have a problems with screwing in the piece and putting it back. So we don't want that to happen. And think that this thread is already, everything is a bit bent here on this chassis, but still pretty good. Okay, so we got a bit more sturdiness with this piece over here, and we need to put this one back as well, because this is the one that is holding the pump in the place, and this piece is actually screwed with these short screws, not with this longer ones, but with the short ones. So be careful not to lose those two. On this right side you can use the longer one as well, but on this left side you should use the shorter one, because we don't want anything to be sticking out over here longer as it should be, because we're gonna have table running over here, so we have to secure the space for the table to go under the head. And the next thing we're gonna do about it as well is we're gonna have to bend this couple of things that are sticking inside the space that is gonna be for the table. Okay, let me just get a hammer. So I think it's the easiest way is to hammer this couple of things down. Okay, we got that. And also there's one more thing over here that could stay like this, but I usually bend it as well, because sometimes, depending on how the chassis is gonna be centered on the printer over here, sometimes it happens that there's a very narrow space between the chassis and the table. So just to be sure, I'm gonna bend this small piece over here to the inside as well. So the easiest way to do that is to have this pliers and just push it inside like this. So we're gonna be sure that nothing's gonna get stuck over there. Okay, so we got the chassis ready, and we will be cutting the chassis over here, and over there. And while we're doing that, we should cover the main shaft over here, because we don't want the small metal dust of cutting, depending on how dense are the teeth on your saw or whatever you're going to be using for the cutting. We don't want it to get stick to the main shaft over here, because it's wearing down the rings that are on the carrier for the head over here. So we want to protect this main shaft with the paper, with the tape and everything you have by your hand. You should be protecting this shaft while you're cutting, because if you're not doing that, then there's a good possibility that you're gonna be having problems later on. And if there's some stuff over here on the end of the shaft, you should clean that as well. Alright, if it's only oil or something like that, then you don't have to, but this is stuff that is slowing down the head over here as well, if it goes under the ring on the head carrier. So I'm just gonna clean that off, and also we're gonna lubricate the shaft nevertheless. So yeah, so we are ready for the cutting. Okay, so now let's see what we can do about this part over here. We have to disassemble the cover and pull everything off the chassis itself, and just basically pull the chassis out and try to we will have to do some holes over here which we don't have on the one that we are replacing this old one with. So let's just go one step at a time. So first what we have to do here is to disconnect the fans over here, so we can lift this main cover up, and we have a couple of screws over here that we're gonna have to remove. All right. So I can see that this printer has already been opened up because some of the screws are missing over here. So I hope nothing is damaged or something like that, so we don't have trouble with all the other stuff, because this is quite a challenging task, replacing the chassis by itself, so we don't want to have any additional problems with the printer. Okay, so now since I've disconnected the fans over here on the left, I can lift up the main cover. Alright, and I try to okay, so let's see. So you can see the head carrier over here is kinda dangling up and down, so that would mean that this it's actually a proof that this chassis has wasted rings over here, and you can see this over here. That means that this shaft over here is completely dry, so it must not be like that. But this is printer that is bought by the owner by himself, so he probably didn't get any maintenance instructions. So this must not happen, because it's gonna waste rings on the carrier over here. So it's, you can see that there's ink over here and it's completely dry. I'm trying to clear it off, but I can't, because this shaft is completely dry and it has to be lubricated, and which is not in this case. So that's probably a reason more to have this these rings are wasted, because when something is dry it's depleting bit by bit. Okay, so let's see. We need to get the chassis out, so basically all the screws that you can see that are holding the chassis inside have to be removed. So these main screws that are holding the chassis in have also the have to be held from the inside actually, so you might have to remove the side covers. That's why it's quite a demanding task, but also that's why you have these videos. If anytime you happen to have the need to replace something on the printer, which during time you're gonna have for sure, so you can help yourself with those videos. But I do want to say that this is not really an easy task, so if you're unexperienced, it's gonna be quite demanding for you. But every new day is a chance to learn new stuff. And that's why we're here, to help you out with that. Okay, so I got the first one removed, and the second one is so you see, nothing is really easy with this repair. Sometimes it's time consuming, because you can see the first one I got pretty easy out, but this one seems to be spinning inside. I'm having trouble with this one. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think I got it this time. So now, while we are on this side, we should also unplug everything. I'm trying to do as much stuff here on the right, because I'm gonna have to turn the printer around to take off the stuff on the left side. Alright, so we're gonna have to unplug these flat cables over here. Gonna pull this up. Alright, so I have to unplug everything over here. I just wanna mark the cables a bit, so it's gonna be a bit easier when I'm gonna be putting everything back. And also, good thing is to put back the screw as well on its position, so you don't have to look for them. Especially if you, it's a good thing, especially if you are doing this job in a couple of days, because it's, as I've said, quite a demanding task. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or you can use the marks from the motherboard as well. So let's just unplug everything off, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to remove this thing as well, because I think we're gonna have trouble mounting other stuff on. But yeah, so we could disassemble this thing over here, but let's just see. I just want to remove the cables first because I'm having a bit trouble seeing what I'm doing. Oh yeah, so these two are gonna go into motherboard, and this one is going, where is this one going? And I'm thinking this one is for the power supply for the lamp, but I'm gonna have to check that out, because if it is a power supply for the lamp, which I think it is, I'm just gonna mark it with PS, like power supply, because for the moment I'm gonna have to unplug it here from this board over here, which is on the mounted on the flatbed itself over here, but I know where it goes. Okay, so I just wanna temporarily move it out of the way for the moment, but yeah, I think it's the power supply for the lamp, but I'm gonna have to check that out as well after I'm done with this assembly, and I'm gonna have a bit more insight on what I'm doing. Okay, so let's see. This stuff is not attached to the chassis over here. We got everything unplugged. Okay, and we got this screw over here for the paper roll, which is not really a paper roll, but it serves as a holder for the, or the carrier for the motherboard and power supply, which is quite a interesting solution, but we will have to remove that as well. All right, so what do we have here that we can get rid of as well? So we can there's also one more screw over here that is just a side of the main one. So yeah, the next thing we could be removing is this thing in the back, or this thing in the front that is holding the sensors for the lift, but maybe it's gonna be easier if we just start with this thing in the back. Alright, so let me just see what would be the best thing to do. I'm thinking we should be moving this box that carries the motherboard and the power supply. So in order to do that, we're gonna need to release this power supply 220 cable over here, which is secured with zip ties over here. So I'm gonna have to cut that off and put some new ones after we install the new chassis over here. So I'm gonna disconnect this stuff. Okay, so the motherboard is unplugged, and actually the two screws that are holding the chassis over here, we're gonna have to unscrew that, and these four over here for the motherboard. Let me just see, we have this cable over here, but I don't think it's in the way, but also one more zip tie over here that is holding the cables together. Okay, so let's see. This is out of the way. This is not in the way. It just goes over the power supply. So we should be able to get this thing out if we unscrew this too. Also, this part over here is removable, but let's just see if we can pull this off without disassembling one more piece. Maybe we can pull it off without disassembling that upper part over there. Let's see how this is gonna work, because we do want to be relatively quick about it, but sometimes you do have to take it slow to get the results you want. Okay, it would seem that we're gonna have to, seems that I can't pull it up for some reason. Something is still, these screws are in the way. Okay, so not too bad. So this can be pulled out, and this can be pulled over like this. Voila. So that's the easier way to go with this one. So you can see there's a look on the boards from below. I'm gonna put that aside. So let's see, we've already said we do need to remove the paper roll. Two metal pieces that are holding this plastic rod into place. So it's not really necessary over here with the UV printer, so we're not gonna put them back. We're just gonna remove them for now. They are a bit more useful, but not also very necessary with the DTF, because the paper roll tends to wear down from during time. So we're just gonna remove them over here, but on DTF they might be useful for sometimes if you wanna have the paper roll functional for a longer time, because nothing it's not ejecting any paper over here in the UV printer, because it's a flatbed printer. So these two pieces are not really necessary over here. They just they are just in the way when you wanna do some repairs with your UV. All right, so let me see what would be the best thing to do next. We're gonna put this back, but I'm thinking we could unscrew this these two screws that are holding the paper roll in place from behind. Let me just see what else can I do over here with screws and cables. So I got two more screws actually holding the paper roll into place. So I'm thinking this is the best way to do this, or maybe this is the time to turn the printer around so you can see better what we're gonna do over here, because we're gonna have to cut some things off. So let's see. I'm gonna have to turn the printer around.